Selected tales from Beatrix Potter. Context. The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Page 5. Tale of Peter Rabbit. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits. Their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandy bank underneath the root of a very big tree. "Now, my dears," said old Mrs. Rabbit, one morning you may go into the field or down the lane, but don't go to Mr. McGorrin's garden. Your father had an accident there. He was put in a pie by Mr. and Mrs. McGorrin. Now run along and don't go into mischief. I'm going out." Then old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went through the wood to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and high currant buns. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGorrin's garden and squeezed under the gate. First, he ate some lettuce and some French beans, and then he ate some radishes. And then, feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. But round the end of a cucumber frame, whom should he meet but Mr. McGorrin? Mr. McGorrin was in his hands and knees planting out young cabbages, but he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling out, "Stop, thief!" Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages, and the other shoe amongst the potatoes. After losing them, he ran on 4 legs and went faster, so that I think he might have got away altogether if he had not unfortunately ran into the gooseberry net and got caught by the large buttons on his jacket. It was a blue jacket and brass button, quite new. Peter gave up for loss and shed big tears, but his sobs were overheard by some friendly
Sparrows.
Who flew to great excitement and explored him to exterminate himself. Mr. McGoran came up with a sieve which he intended to pop upon the top of Peter, but Peter wiggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind. And rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it had not had so much water in it. Mr. McGregor was quiet, sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed, perhaps hiding underneath a flower pot. He began to turn them over carefully looking under each. Presently, Peter squeezed Carroty School! Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. And tried to put his foot upon window, upsetting 3 plants. The window was too small for Mr. Gregory, and he was tired of running after Peter. He went back to his work. Peter sat down to rest. He was put down of breathing, out of breath, and trembled with fright, and he had not the least idea which way to go. Also, he was very damp with sitting in a can. After a time, he had to wander about, going lippity, not very fast, for looking all around. He found a door in a wall, but it was locked, and there was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze underneath. An old mouse was running in and out over the stone doorstep, carrying peas and beans to her family in the wood. Peter asked her the way to the gate, but she had not such a large pea in her mouth that she could not answer. She only shook her head
Peter. Peter began to cry. This is the mouse and this is Peter starting to cry. Then he tried to find his way straight across the garden. But presently he came to a pond where Mr. McGregory. She's back! Mr. Gregory filled his water cans. A white cat was staring at some goldfish. Then the tip of her tail twitched as if it were alive. Peter thought it was best to go away without speaking to her. He had heard about cats from his cousins, little Benjamin Bunny. That's Peter, that's the cat, and those are the goldfish.
He went back towards the tool shed, but suddenly quite close to him, he heard the noise of a hoe. Screech, scratch, scratch, scratch. Peter scurried underneath the bushes. But presently, as nothing happened, he came out and climbed upon a wheelbarrow and peed over. Right? Peed over?
Peep.
Robo and peeped over. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGoran hoeing onions. His back was turned towards Peter, and beyond him was the gate. Ooh. Peter got down very quietly off the wheelbarrow and started running as fast as he could go along a straight walk behind some blackcurrant bushes. Mr. McGoran caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter did not care. He slipped underneath the gate and was safe at last in the wood outside. Wood outside the garden. Mr. McGoran hung up the little jacket for the shoes for a scarecrow to frighten the blackbirds. Peter never stopped running or looked behind him. Okay. Oh, sorry. Peter never stopped running or looking behind him until he got home to the big fry tree. But he was so tired that he flopped down upon the nice soft sand on the floor, the rabbit hole, and shut his eyes. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. It was the second little jacket and pair of shoes that Peter had lost in a fortnight. So I have a little word to say that this word fortnight. Can you pause?
You want me to pause?
This word fortnight here is like if you haven't heard the song by Taylor Swift and Post Malone, it's called Fortnite, and what this word in a book means in 2 weeks. So technically it says it was the second little jacket and pair of shoes that Peter had lost in a 2 weeks. If you search it up, it will mean 2 weeks, but it might also say the song. Don't click on the song. Please don't click on the song. Click on the 2 weeks. It means 2 weeks. Just a heads up, please. I'm sorry to say that Peter was not very well burning the evening. His mother put him to bed and made him some chamomile tea, and she gave a dose of it to Peter, 1 tablespoon, and to be taken, but at bedtime. But Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail have bread and milk and blackberries for supper. Ooh, ooh, ooh! Look at that. The Tale of Timmy Tiptoes. I'll read that tomorrow. Bye, you guys.